Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United 3, Reading 1. We're through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. We're here with Stephen Howson, of course. Steve, it was all right, that, wasn't it? Easy?
Easy feels disrespectful to Reading. I actually thought Reading did what I thought they would do, but I think it was comfortable. I don't know if easy seems a bit... We had a lot of opportunities, didn't we? And we were having a lot of shots, and I'd say a nice, comfortable game that you got through with no dramas.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being a little bit flippant there with easy, because there was a little bit a time there as well. First half was frustrating, not getting a goal, but we were in control, obviously, a lot of the ball and chances. And then second half, you could see the difference in quality there. All the talk is of Casemiro, and understandably with his 2 goals, and we know how good he is. I wanted to ask you about Antony, though, because he got player of the match, and he seemed on the watch-along to divide opinion, because a lot of people were saying, great, fantastic, creating goals, and deserves his man of the match, or player of the match, to give it its right moniker. Some people saying, still not great end product, still something missing. Where did you stand on Antony's performance?
I thought it was very positive. I like that he came out and was like, yeah, my performances haven't been good. There's been some stuff in my personal life. I'll get it. And you don't get that usually because his performances have been substandard. And I thought his last couple of performances prior to tonight were actually worrying because it's a pretty extended run of really poor form. And the thing is, Casemiro played excellent. I thought Antony was a constant threat, a lot more direct than he's been for a lot. In Prem and other fixtures, but the response is just going to be, it's supposed to be, it's Reading, and that's valid, really. It's a valid sort of response to these performances, but he's still having the performance. This time we've slipped up. I mean, literally last season we slipped up at this stage, wasn't it? Was it this stage?
Do you know what? Oh yeah, it was Middlesbrough, wasn't it? Middlesbrough. I think it was.
Was it this stage?
It was.
So,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
If that.
We have, what do we have, like 12 FA Cup wins in our entire history, something like that, is it?
Something like that. We did have the most, didn't we, out of anyone, and then Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal shanked a few, didn't they?
Yeah, because they focused on it, because they're usually out of the league title race by about September.
So do you know what I mean? In our 100 and whatever year history, we've only managed to pull out a dozen of them or so.
Yeah.
It's nice to see us progressing, and it isn't always top tier opposition that have dunked us out of it. So at the end of the day, we're the only English team that's in 4 competitions. We're progressing in all of them. I thought there was some good squad management from the Dutch fella tonight. We saw Harry Maguire and Lindelof come in. Wasn't really much drama with them. They played as expected. We saw a nice early night for some of the players that have been heavily featured. I think there's a lot of really good decisions, like very minor decisions, but good decisions being made. You seen increasing minutes for Garnacho. Pellistri got a few extra minutes after the performance that he had midweek. I'm expecting a pretty rotated United side turns up on Wednesday, and I think that'll be really good for the likes of probably Casemiro. Antony, you go either way with, can't you? Because you're thinking maybe you're playing back into form and he's not exactly got a lot of options there. But I want to see Marcus rested. Eriksen, I think, has to be rested in the near future. And who's going to come in and replace him? I have no idea. Casemiro needs a break. But we're hanging on with a couple of really key players that if they got a serious injury, we're well in the shit. So I think you've got to cotton wool it a little bit through this next couple of weeks. And, we could be in an extremely positive position in just a couple of weeks if everything goes to plan.
Definitely. Just on the game management thing, it made me laugh a little bit that Marcus is on for this record of 11, I think, consecutive games at home where he scored. He's equalled Dennis Violet's record from 1959.
10 it would have been tonight.
Yeah, sorry. So he would have broke it, and yet he takes him off, doesn't he, after 60-odd minutes? He's not one for sentiment, is he? He's like, this is the plan.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Stick to it.
He leaves him on 5 more minutes. Marcus gets a fucking severe injury, and that's the season done. Yeah. We are so reliant on Marcus Rashford. The record is a nice recognition of where he's at in form at the moment this season. But realistically, if that's where his season ended, so fucking what?
Yeah.
Like, what we need is Marcus Rashford to be available next weekend, then against Barcelona. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and fit and ready, available for what we hope is going to be a final with. We expect it to be Newcastle at the back end of February. That's what he needs. So I absolutely, totally back Ten Hag taking him off. I'm sure the only person gutted about that is Marcus.
Yeah.
And he's probably not even gutted about that. He probably goes, all right, just have to start the run again.
Yeah, like that. He did seem like there wasn't any sort of moodiness from him. He shook his hand and gave him, you know what I mean? Like, he seemed like, yeah, probably a little bit gutted, but he gets it. And I like that about Ten Hag. He's got everyone sort of singing from the same song sheet. What did you make of the subs that came on, especially Mainu, a youngster? Obviously, he's a little bit younger than some of his peers who, even from that academy team, getting more minutes again. He seems to be a player that Erik Ten Hag sort of has an eye on.
Yeah, he seems to have leapfrogged Zidane after pre-season. I thought Zidane was nailed on for a hell of a lot more minutes than we've seen him. And he seems to have leapfrogged Zidane in the pecking order a little bit at the moment. So fair play to him. He's obviously doing something right in training, something that Ten Hag likes. That's why he keeps finding himself on the bench and then increasingly finding himself on the pitch. So I don't think he did anything particularly well. He didn't do anything bad. I think it was just, I think those first few sort of appearances that you get are just settle the nerves a little bit. But what he is doing, and more so I think with the likes of Palestri and Garnacho than Mainu, although he isn't not doing it with him, he's building up trust with them. Because should something happen where Marcus isn't available, or should something happen where Casemiro's not available, you're not scratching your head going, can I play Luke Shaw there? Like, he's going to have people ready. He goes, you know what? Bit early, but let me throw him in because I can trust him and I know what he's going to do. Like, if Marcus wasn't available this weekend coming, would there be any qualms in people seeing Garnacho played there? I don't think so. Because Garnacho's been nicely eased into the team. His performances have been good and he's not been thrust in and given 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. And, he's been keeping him hungry and keeping his development going. I think if he can mirror that with Palestri on the right-hand side, and who knows, maybe Mainu clicks in and something spectacular happens with him, or maybe Zidane comes in and owns that. I think when I watch Zidane play, I think I just see a Christian Eriksen regen. I would love to see him taken on that mantle a little bit. Maybe that's something that we might see as the season progresses, but the problem that you've got is if you've not seen him in these early rounds, against the likes of Reading, are you going to see him at Barcelona at the Nou Camp? Or are you going to see him in the League Cup final? Or are you going to see him in like the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the FA Cup, or in those crunch games? We got to go to Anfield, and there's some really big games on the horizon for United. If you can't trust him at home against Reading, it's a big step to start trusting him in some of those games.
100%, 100%. I just wanted to ask you quickly about Fred. Because for some reason, I don't think me and you've spoken about Fred a lot, or I might be forgetting if we have. Gets a goal. I mean, okay, it's a goal against Reading, and you can't look too much into tonight. Do you see Fred, because there was talk of him going into summer, do you see him someone who could be a squad player under Erik Ten Hag? More than just this season? Do you think he'll keep him around?
When Fred plays in the opponent's half, there's a player there. When he's asked to come and receive it from the defence, be a defensive midfielder, I don't think he's equipped for those things. I think his energy and his work rate, his tempo changing, almost reminiscent of what you used to get out of Tevez sometimes, where the game's gone a bit stale, let's bang Tevez on, and suddenly chaos ensues. And I think Fred's got a little bit of that sort of characteristic about him. If he's starting too many games, there's probably a drama there. Because I think him and McTominay's problem is, while they were both very good, and they both had very good defensive numbers, and they did, provably, really strong defensive numbers, they were both poor on the ball. They both don't have the capabilities or vision to be able to play the sort of balls that we're seeing, certainly the sort of balls that we were seeing Casemiro and Eriksen play, and probably not even the sort of balls that we will see Donny van de Beek play. Which is why you saw a massive campaign for Donny van de Beek starting over both of those two, despite the weakness that he's got defensively. Now, Eriksen, I think, has got a weakness defensively, but he has got a little bit more game intelligence than maybe a Fred or a McTominay has. And I think he occupies pretty decent positions, even though he still gets ran past a fair few times. Reminds me a bit of Scholes, late Scholes. Late Scholes got run through a few times, but you accept it because when he gets on the ball, he kills the opposition. So you go, swings and roundabouts with it here. Casemiro, just flawless in both areas of that. The decision making, the defensive work, the work rate, the communication, the on the ball stuff. I mean, find a weakness in him. What's his weakness? So the upgrade that we've seen in central midfield is ridiculous. Fred being kept around as a squad player, not a massive drama about, but him and McTominay, they almost come as a partnership, don't they? And that partnership can't be compared to the level of quality that we get out of Eriksen and Casemiro.
No, 100% agree with that as well. Just finally, rate our chances of winning this trophy, because the FA Cup, me and you were talking about the other day, we've got a lot of good memories. It is a big one. We haven't won enough of them. Do you think we can this season? Fancy it?
Well, who can't we beat?
Beat anyone. On our day, if we've got the likes of Marcus and Casemiro fit, beat anyone.
We've just beaten Pepsi.
Yeah.
Like literally, we've beaten or outplayed everybody this season in Britain.
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
We've beaten Manchester City. I would back our chances to do that again.
Yeah.
We have beaten Arsenal this season.
Yeah.
We probably could have come away with a draw at the Emirates last time we played them last week.
Yeah.
It took a 90-odd minute winner without Casemiro playing. So, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And it was like, the Horse's first major game. I think, and Antony was a waste of a shirt in that game. I think if you'd have had like anybody else, even Fred playing in there, it might have been a different story.
I think
we beat the Scousers.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Chelsea and Newcastle offered nothing against us, and we're very fortunate to not get smashed. We battered Spurs. Like, why should we not fancy our chances in this?
No, I agree. I think if, like I said, as long as we've got key players, and I think every team's the same, every team's got one or two players that they need. I think if we can keep Marcus and Casemiro fit and available, then there's no reason we can't beat anyone. So, yeah, I'd fancy it, and I think winning the FA Cup in your first season would be fantastic for Mr. Eriksen. What videos have you got coming up and coming out, and where can we find you? What's on your channel?
Did one today about Enzo Lefebvre, I believe it's called. Not Lefebvre, I've been calling him Lefebvre, but I believe it's Lefebvre. Which is a player that very reminiscent of Verratti, probably on his way to Dortmund or Chelsea as we speak now, after that video's been out for a good 10 hours or so. But well worth checking out. Excellent little player. Apparently available for 12 mil, which I think if United ring, it probably gets tripled. But yeah, I've done a scout report on him. There'll be some more stuff coming out tomorrow, which is worth checking out. And 5 things will be out in the morning.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Steve. Make sure you check out all those videos. You know where to find us as well. So you make sure you're hitting like, share, and subscribe. This has been the review with me, Jay Motti, and Stephen Howson. United through to the next round of the FA Cup. And like Steve says, who have we got to fear? Thanks for watching.